Hello, my name is Terrence Trumbo, and I was a student of Wong Jack Man, the Kung Fu master known for fighting Bruce Lee back in 1964. It's been said that their fight was over Bruce teaching non-Chinese people, and this is just not true. This isn't something Bruce ever even said to any of his friends or students, and before Linda Lee said this in her 1976 biography, no one had ever cited that as the reason for the fight. If this was something Bruce told Linda, then maybe he was confused about the real reason the fight was happening. There was some estrangement between the Chinese community and non-Chinese people at the time, but that had a lot to do with the prejudice and racism that Asian people experienced in the US during that period. Despite this, there were non-Chinese Kung Fu students in San Francisco throughout the 50s and early 60s. It is true that during the Boxer Rebellion, Chinese masters did not teach their arts to Westerners. This was especially the case with styles like Wing Chun and Choi Lei Foot. But this wasn't some general rule that all Kung Fu schools followed throughout history. Any martial artists trying to shut down Bruce's school would have had to have come from one of the three main schools that were there around 1963-64. There was Wang Timyun's Kin Mun Studio, Lao Ban's Hung Sing Studio, and the Jiaoso, where they taught Tai Chi. Bruce's art, Wing Chun, was not taught at any of these schools, and it's not like they were a united front regulating who could teach what to who. Wang Timyun, also known as T.Y. Wong, taught a man named Noel O'Brien, who was so talented they called him Bok Fu, or White Tiger. Noel was very close with T.Y. Wong, and he said that he wasn't the first non-Chinese student at his school. Then there's Al Novak, who was one of Bruce's friends. He said that he was welcomed with open arms by the Kung Fu community in the late 1950s when he started learning from T.Y. Wong. Bing Chan, one of Lao Ban's top students, also had white students around that time. That brings me to Sifu Wong Jack Man. He didn't care that Bruce Lee was teaching Wing Chun to non-Chinese people. He taught Baksu Lung, or Northern Shaolin. He didn't care what Wing Chun Sifus were doing. And if he did feel that strongly about this issue, enough to fight Bruce Lee over it, then he wouldn't have taught me, or any of the other non-Chinese students he had for over 30 years. He wouldn't have taught Peter Ralston, the first Caucasian person to have ever won the World Full Contact Fighting Championship held in Taiwan in 1978. When I was learning from Sifu Wong, there were students of every racial denomination in his class. The real reason for the fight was because of an open challenge Bruce had made at the Sun Sing Theater on Grant Street in San Francisco. People who were there said that he was giving a demonstration of his famous one-inch punch. The volunteer for this particular demonstration was a student of Bing Chan. Bruce failed to knock him back. The crowd laughed, and without warning, Bruce suddenly blasted him with another punch before he was ready, knocking him to the floor. The kid protested, saying, "Hey, that's not fair. You said you were only going to hit me once." The crowd then booed and started flicking cigarettes at Bruce, and with his notoriously bad temper, he lashed out at the crowd, saying something like he was better than any martial artist in San Francisco, and he welcomed the challenge of anyone who might want to prove him wrong. After this incident, a number of Kung Fu men felt outraged by Bruce, including Bing Chan, whose student got punched by him. And so they got together and wrote up a challenge letter. These men included Wong Jack Man, David Chin, Bing Chan, and a man named Ronald Wu, whose Chinese calligraphy was very good, so they got him to write the letter. Maybe someone had told Bruce they were mad about who he was teaching, but it was not mentioned anywhere in the challenge letter and had nothing to do with why the fight occurred. If anyone had a problem with this, it would have more likely been someone from Bruce's own school back in Hong Kong, since Yip Man refused to teach Westerners. It is my hope that I can bring this false narrative to rest once and for all. Thank you.